The light's terrible. Shit. Hi, my phone just dropped. This is Kate Connolly. This is the live that I was hoping to do yesterday, but I'm doing today instead. And we're talking today on dehydration, which is, it's one of those topics that I think most people go, yeah, I know all about it. It's fine. I need to drink water. But sometimes I think when we put it into perspective, and we put it into perspective in terms of why? Like, why do we need to drink water? What is it that's actually important? When we get really clear on what that feels like, then I think it's also a lot easier to do it, because then we have motivation behind it. So dehydration, basically means a lack of water in the body, or a lack of absorption of water in the body. And they're two very different things. So some people can drink lots of water and not absorb any of it. And some people can drink not much water and actually get pretty good hydration levels within their system. So a lot of that will depend on how healthy you are. It will depend on what kind of food you're eating. It will depend on how good your cells are in terms of absorbing or not absorbing different nutrients. And the quality of water actually makes a really big difference. So if you're more likely to have tap water versus some kind of filtered alkaline water, then the chances of it absorbing properly and actually being health-giving is somewhat limited. So when you look at, and I'm actually going to post it up here after this, I've got actual pictures of before and after of water filters. So for those people who think, tap water, no worries, I would invite you to actually try a filter and have a look and see how absolutely disgustingly filthy it is after even just a few months of use versus kind of, and the taste as well. The taste of filtered water versus tap water is usually pretty big. And it's actually quite shocking when you look at, I think we had 3 different filters, and then one was completely brown and one was completely white, as in the new one. How much crap we can get in our tap water. So even in the process of getting tap water, it depends on where you are in the world. And in Australia, in Sydney, just for hygiene purposes, a lot of the there's a lot of different chemicals that get added to water just to kind of keep it clean. But it's also exposed to the elements as well, so we don't really know what we're picking up in our water sometimes. And when we drink it, there's a chance that there could be something in there that doesn't work for our body. We don't know, the piping that it's gone through. We don't necessarily know the plants that water's come through. We don't necessarily understand what it is that we're putting into our body if we're having tap water. So why is this important? Dehydration is absolutely crucial in terms of learning how to look after yourself. And the reason I say that is because it's one of the easiest things that we can forget. It's very, very easy to forget to hydrate yourself. It's one of the things that we can ignore probably more than anything else. But what you'll find is that if you're dehydrated, a few different things that can happen. The first thing is tiredness. So if you're tired all the time, if you're dehydrated, it makes it worse. So one of the most important things to do if you're tired is to make sure that you increase the amount of water that you drink. So both dehydration and tiredness usually lead to one thing, and that's hunger. So hunger is often misinterpreted by the brain. The body might feel hungry sometimes, but that will often be mistaken for dehydration or a lack of sleep. So if you're feeling hungry and you haven't had enough water, if you're feeling tired, you're much more likely to be hungry. But the quality of water and the amount of water is always going to be really important. And so the way that this kind of filters into the intuition is pretty much along the lines of, if you don't have your basics sorted, if you don't have your sleep, your water and your food sorted, then what you'll find is that you're always going to be over hungry, and you're probably going to crave foods that are unhealthy for you. And this happens again and again and again. I see this happen to people all the time. And it's actually kind of tricky, because people think, well, it's just water, it's not a big deal. But it can be the difference between being healthy and not healthy. In my practice, I just remember one particular time I had a man who had low back pain. It was incredibly difficult for him. He had it for months and months and months. And then as soon as we increased his hydration levels, the pain went away. And the reason being is that the spine has in between all of the bones these intervertebral discs. So these discs actually act as your kind of spongy, like I guess trampoline for the body. It acts as your shock absorber. And if there's no water in your body, there's no water in your discs, and there's no shock absorbency through the spine. So you're not going to have much flexibility, and you're much more likely to injure yourself as well. So there's a lot of different health reasons. You've definitely got the level of tiredness that will happen from dehydration. You're always going to be more hungry if you're dehydrated, always. And also what happens really importantly within the body is that you're not going to be able to flush out your toxins. So as we take in food, as we take in different toxins in our environment, it will get filtered first through the digestive system and then the liver and then the kidneys. But if you don't have enough water, if you're not flushing your body out with water every day, those toxins will stay in there and they can actually make you really sick. So your ability to actually listen to your body is much reduced because you're going to be hungry all the time, you're going to be tired, and you're going to get toxic. So if you're a combination of hungry, tired, and toxic, how easy do you think it's going to be to sit with your intuition and know what it is that you want to eat? And also know if you're actually hungry or whether it's something else. So it's a fairly important topic, and I don't want to, treat this lightly because it is actually such an important thing. And the other thing that I wanted to kind of touch on with that is the concept of, most disease processes, all cancers, a lot of yeasts, a lot of bacteria, a lot of pathogenic processes in the body require an acidic environment. So they require acid or an acidic environment within the body to proliferate and actually will actually kind of get better. Like they get better, they proliferate, they get more, and then we get sicker and sicker. And if you're acidic, if your body's acidic, then that actually makes that process a lot easier. So if you're wanting to be well, or if you're struggling with sickness, having a water, particularly a more alkaline water to drink, if you drink lots and lots of water that's on the alkaline side, you really don't give your body that much chance to, proliferate these kind of disease processes, okay? Because cancer loves acid. If you throw a lot of alkaline stuff at cancer, it just doesn't want to keep growing. It can't. It actually can't live in an alkaline environment. The same with a lot of candida, parasites, a whole bunch of other different disease processes or pathogens within the body. They literally can't proliferate if you're alkaline. So if you just do one thing, which is drinking a really good quality water that's been filtered to get all the junk out of it. You've got some good minerals in there if you get the right kind of filter that puts minerals back in if you need that, which everybody does. And if it sits on the alkaline side of the pH, so a little bit higher than 7, what you'll find is that your body will over time become more and more and more alkaline. So if you're more alkaline, you're going to have less disease processes happening in your body, you're going to have more energy, you're going to feel better, and your ability to actually listen to your body and get in tune with what you're eating is so much better. So I want to apologize about last night. I was supposed to go on a live last night, but I was actually getting a treatment myself. I was getting looked after, and I just thought, you know what, actually I need to put myself first, which doesn't happen all the time. Even though I preach it, I don't always do it. So one of the processes for doing this course with you guys and doing the lives as well is to actually kind of, continually reflect into me and how am I going, and am I actually looking after myself? Am I actually listening to my body? Am I doing what it needs? And I definitely needed to do that last night, and it's tricky when you're doing live sometimes, and you've got to kind of juggle them around a little bit. But I would hope that if the roles were reversed and you were needing to do some self-care, that you would do that first, because that's actually more important. And and you know, it's tricky to kind of hold that as a priority, but I think the more that we can do that, if everybody in the world did that, then we'd all be a much happier planet. I think we probably would have a much happier place that we're living in. Okay, so back to the dehydration. We've got a whole bunch of issues that can happen if you're dehydrated. There is such thing as being overhydrated, which happens sometimes in athletes, more often in athletes, or if it's a really hot day, they might overhydrate, so they'll drink way too much in a period of time that their kidneys can't filter. That's a whole other issue that most people don't have to deal with. But if you do ever go into, you know, big races, or if you do kind of like marathon type events, then that can be a problem, and that's something you probably need to look at as well in terms of staying hydrated. So you usually want a really good balance of electrolytes so you can absorb your water. And also you want to be having a good quality water so that what you are getting in is actually getting into your system and creating health rather than causing problems. So does that all make sense? Does anyone have any questions? I've got a couple of people that are watching at the moment. Is there anybody that would like to add anything or have any questions about what I've just said? So while I'm waiting, just in case, if people want to put in a question, that's totally cool. And if you're watching this delayed, feel free to just put a question in the comments as well, because I will check on those and I will answer those as they come up. And if you've got any kind of comments or anything that you want to add, by all means, please add them and we can have a bit of a discussion. So Denise, oh, thank you. So lemons in the water can help alkalize it. Yes, absolutely it can. Lemon is actually a really fantastic thing to put in your water. Thank you for that. And a lot of people will do that to stimulate digestion in the morning as well. So a really good way of kind of, I guess, getting the digestive juices flowing is to put, you know, literally cut an organic, preferably organic lemon in half and just squeezing that and putting that in just some slightly warm water. And it's actually fantastic. You don't want the water too hot because it'll kill the vitamin C in the lemon, but what it will do is it'll help alkalize the body, absolutely. If you have too much, sometimes it can cause a little bit of sensitivity with the teeth, but certainly as like a drink first thing in the morning. And if the water's slightly warm, it seems to have less of an issue with the teeth as well. So yeah, thank you for that. So before I continue, I just want to kind of let you know that this is actually part of the intuitive eating course that I've written, and it's basically designed to help you really tune into your body, really get things working well so you can actually function and work in the best possible way for you. I've got my website, I think it's above actually, so if you want to jump on the mailing list to get more information, you'll get some emails, and then when the course is actually out, which is pretty much any day now, you'll be able to jump on and sign up if you want to do that, which will be really exciting. So in terms of talking about dehydration or hydration and also your intuition, I just wanted to kind of sum it up a little bit because it is such an important thing, because if we don't have our basics sorted, if we're not getting enough sleep, if we're not hydrated, if we're not doing a little bit of exercise and getting outside, they're really basic things. There is no way that you're going to be able to listen to your body to eat what your body actually wants, because those are the basics. Those are the things that need to be sorted before you can even think about trying to tune into your body in terms of food, or let alone anything else. So, you know what it's like when you feel sick and when you feel down and out and when you're feeling stressed and preoccupied. Your ability to kind of sit with your heart and sit with your intuition is actually kind of really compromised at that point. So I really want to encourage people not to forget the basics, to make sure that you are getting enough water in. And that's going to change depending on the day. It's going to change depending on the person. It's going to change depending on how healthy or sick, or whether you're detoxing or whether you're just, living your everyday life. Detoxing, some people say that you need to drink between 3 to 5 liters a day. If it's really hot, you might even need more than that. And then sometimes if it's cold, if you haven't really sweated, if you're, drinking, herbal teas or soups or something like that, then your need to have, water is less. So I think it's important to always keep listening to how much water you need, as in listening to your body. But if you're not really sure, then by all means just go ahead and drink more. More is always better. And you know, if nothing else, you're going to be putting a whole bunch of good flushing through your system. Now, a lot of people say to me, if I drink too much water, I'm on the toilet all the time and all I'm doing is peeing. And yes, for some people that's absolutely true. There's different electrolyte things that you can put into your water to help that. So if you do have an issue with absorption of water, a small thing like putting a bit of Himalayan rock salt in the water can really help. It can help with the mineralization of the water, and then also helping you to absorb it. A better quality water that's properly mineralized will be better. You'll be paying less. But there are products that you can buy out there that are specifically designed to balance the electrolytes and also balance the absorption of the water in the body, so that what you're drinking actually does go through your system and does actually clean things out properly as it needs to. And that's kind of what it's designed to do. And the fact that our body is, you know, I've heard statistics from 60 to 80% water. It's a lot. Right, most of us is water, and look, we've got to actually keep feeding our system and keep flushing it out so it can stay healthy. Okay, so that's pretty much it on dehydration. It's a simple but important topic, so I hope you guys have gotten something out of it, and I'll just stay on for a minute or two in case anybody has any other questions. But yeah, it's one of those things that I really want to put out there as a super important topic, because we do take it for granted. It is something that we ignore way too easily. And at the end of the day, I think, you know, if everybody just drank a whole crap load of really good quality alkalized water, then we'd probably all be a much, much healthier society. So I'm just going to stay online for a couple of minutes. I'll probably stop the feed, but I will be online if people want to ask any questions. So while I'm here, does anyone want to ask anything? Okay, I think we're pretty good. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. It's nice to see you guys. I hope the light's not too bright. And I hope you got something out of this. And just remember, always do as much as you can to look after yourself by getting the water in, getting enough sleep, and getting some exercise in, so you can really just look after your body in a healthy way. Okay, take care. See you.